oh boy, I think that I have saved the best of the Transformers Titans Return Deluxe class Autobots for last here when looking at that side of things. Hardhead is great. I like Highbrow, even though I think he's the weakest of Wave 2. But this guy is absolutely fantastic. Stick around and I'll explain why I think he's fantastic in the latest GotBot True review. Hey folks, thanks for dropping by. Having a bit of a visit here. I am your host, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot, and as always, please check out Machinery Man, the Everything Factor. Check me out everywhere, and of course, like, comment, subscribe. I always love to hear what you guys think as well. So this is the Wave 2 Deluxe Chromedome, and I really think that he is probably the star of the wave, and that's saying something because Mindwipe is very interesting, pretty great. I absolutely love Wolfwire. I think he's really good, except for that one imperfection with his shoulders not quite going out far enough. Highbrow, I've already mentioned, is probably the weakest of the wave, but this guy is a champion, no doubt in my mind about it. Let's start off right away with his paint apps. His paint apps, honestly, initially I was going to give it an 11. Here's why, because there's actually more apps on this guy than there is in his animation model for the cartoon. That doesn't have the silver, even though the original toy did. So I thought his paint apps were even better. Of course, he has brown sort of, on his elbow here and beginning of his upper bicep. That should also be a beigey color. And his head, and we'll look at that closely in a few minutes, is apparently more inspired by the design in the current comics rather than his G1. It works fine for me. To be honest with you, unless you're extremely picky, I don't even know if you're going to really notice. Or you might notice if you're a huge fan of the Headmasters. Outside of those couple of things, I feel like it's pretty great. The browns they're not the same brown everywhere, but I kind of don't care because they sort of play off each other really nicely and it looks really good, and the red is so vibrant and rich. So I can't give him, an 11 because there are a couple of little not perfect bits. But the paint that's applied is on nice and thick, although there's not much on the Titan Master. So overall, and I don't like these translucent wheels. I don't know why these weren't just black. So I'm going to give it a 9.5. 9.5. I'm coming down not from a 10 this time, from an 11 to a 9.5. He's really good. This is a great Chromedome, folks. Out of respect to the fact that his design apparently is largely based on his current look in the comics. Here he is with Rewind, and they have, out of respect to their relationship in the comics, there's a comparison of those two. Here he is with Hardhead, who I looked at in, I believe, episode 151, and looks great. I just very recently looked at Highbrow. Here he is also with Highbrow. The three of them look great. Give me a Brainstorm. And I know some people are going to say, hey, he's the whole Walgreens exclusive thing. I live in Canada, so that doesn't help me at all. And I don't live in an area of Canada where I can just hop across the border. Not possible where I'm to. So I don't know what the plan will be for distribution of that character outside of the United States. Hopefully we will get it elsewhere. Hopefully I'll find a way to get it, but having 3 out of the 4 of those kind of original official Headmasters just makes me kind of want Brainstorm that much more. So that being said, we will hop into this guy after I do one more comparison. This mold is very, very largely based on the, you know, dead-end, streetwise type of mold. And I'm going to represent that right here with this guy. This is my custom painted and slightly molded Lightsteed from the Computron Combiner War set. By the way, I don't think I mentioned it. I took a full look at Rewind in episode 148. I took a full look at this set in episode 149, and I took a look at the custom work that I done on the Computron set in episode 150. If you know how to transform this mold from the Combiner Wars line, you largely know how to transform Chromedome. Now, Chromedome does have a couple of, you know, slight alterations that I think are improvements. He has actually dedicated feet that flip out. If we turn these guys around, will he stand? And turn him around. I like the fact that the hood still comes back on the back, but instead of the windshield, I guess, section just folding back like it does on the Combiner Wars version of the mold, it actually flips down on the back of his legs, and I think that is a much, much better design. I wish we had seen that with the Combiner Wars line, but I guess it wasn't really needed because you didn't have to have kind of that open driver's seat area for a Titan Master to go into. Still, if anything, I think it's that mold improved. You know what? Making the slight changes to this, putting the combiner peg in the chest, this would have actually made a great Lightspeed figure. But that's just conjecture for another time. Focusing back here on Chromedome. His articulation, pretty great. The head goes left and right. It can look up a little bit, down a little bit, and holds it. But it's not tight. The shoulders can go way out like that, and it's pretty great. The biceps can swivel, and it's nice. You have a 90-degree elbow bend, that's very nice. The wrists, they can angle in for transformation, and again, they seem to be on ratchets. Not hard ratchets like the version of this mold in the Combiner Wars line, but soft ratchets. You might have heard that. Listen. Right, so there are ratchets still there in the hands for whatever weird reason. He has a waist swivel, which is beautiful. The legs can go way out to the side. They can go well forward. All the way back. 90 degrees at the knee. This guy can pretty much do anything I want him to do. He doesn't have ankle tilts, that's a little bit too bad, but he does have dedicated feet, so that's an improvement right there. I'm going to give his posability, playability, again, a 9. I think it's really good. He's solid, he stands well, he can do a lot of dynamic poses that I want him to do. He's weighted well, at least my version is, and I'm really impressed. So we have a 9, we have a 9.5. This guy's a 9.25. We're going to take a look at his little blaster pieces here. He comes with 2 pieces. The first is a little red blaster. I think that this is the same one that came with Titan's Return Blur, just remolded in plastic. It's not painted, it's molded in red plastic. And the other one he comes with is again, it's another little blaster. It has a seat in it. It has, you know, a peg up here so he can hold it in his hand like this. I like the fact that when he holds this in his hand, you don't see the seat for the Titan Master. It does have 5mm pegs on either side, and it's okay. It's all right. You can take, because of a hole, a 5mm hole, kind of just before the muzzle of this thing, you can attach the other blaster and they can both look like this and become like a gun sled thing. So that being said, we're going to take this guy out of it. Actually, I'm going to take a caveat here for a second and show something that I didn't show. Here is the collector card for Chromedome. Nice art, beautiful. I really like that rendition. Here are his stats. Shocked that he is so much more intelligent than Highbrow. The rest of them are, I think the rest of them are pretty good. They're, he's a pretty strong character, there's no doubt about it. I will also take a second now while I'm at it and show his package. There's his package, and there it is on the back. And apparently his Titan Master basically helps him to edit the memories of other bots. We're going to look closer at his head, and I'll show you what he looks like in that gun blaster. See, here is the head. I think it's all maybe red plastic, and the blue and the orange and the whitish gray is mold or is painted on, but it's so nice and thick. It's a beautiful covering. It looks glossy. I love the paint job. You take Stylor and you open him up, and he's pretty bland. He's brown and red, no detail done on the face. His ball joints in his arms are extremely tight, but he has the same articulation, and he is pinned at the hip. Head is on a ball joint. He can go in a seated position. Again, he's a 2 or 3 like all of these guys are. I'm just going to take him off slightly here now, and I'm going to place him in the gun slide thing, this thing. Right, there's, you can put him in there. There's a whole sea of red here. But you can he doesn't really stay in there well, I find. But anyway, that's what you can do with him. Now, that being said, pardon me, we're going to bring in the body of Chromedome again. Normally, to start transformation, you would take off the head unit, that of course being Stylor, and you're left with this. I'm going to leave Stylor where he's 2 for now, just to show you a couple of storage options in vehicle mode for him and those kind of blaster things. While I think this guy is the standout star of the wave, I also think that he has perhaps the worst weapon storage. So, where do we begin with this guy? Well, the first, I guess, piece of advice I want to give you is to save the arms for last. Do everything else first, save the arms for last. But we can't straighten the arms out and fold in the fist. Straighten the arm out, fold in the fist. And basically leave them out for now. Next, you're going to unpeg the, chest section and flip that up around just like we would do with the whole chest section on the Combiner Wars mold. And you're going to also lift up the hood section for now. So we take the chest and we unpeg it and bring it all the way up. And we take the hood and we angle it out and bring it all the way up. Like that. And that's really the front of your vehicle done. Next we need to deal with the legs. Turn them at the waist. So now the front of his legs is facing where his back was and where the hood of the car is. Open up his legs and open up his legs. Take the foot and angle it in and angle it in. Just like that. You're just angling the feet in. Flip up the leg and flip up the leg. And now there's a series of pegs, like there's a peg way back here. There's a peg way back here. All of this now pegs together, just as it did with Combiner Wars. Or at least it should all peg together, just as it did with Combiner Wars. If I have these flipped up properly. You will also want to peg the hood section together. Not the hood section, the roof section. And you're going to want to get these arms out of the way so that you can actually fold this piece down. get this arm out of the way so that you can fold this piece down. Make sure everything is in fact pegged together, just like that. This is basically what you have now. The back of the car is done, the front of the car is all but done, the arms aren't in. And now it's just a matter really of pushing the arms in, slotting them into this space in right here, and then the hood will kind of peg into it. And it's sort of a matter of just pegging everything together there. So we'll bring the arm down, into the spaces on the side. Oh, I didn't quite have that one straight, and I didn't quite have that one straight. And for some reason, this arm isn't tabbing in for me. There we go. Nope. There we go. There's two little tabs on the door pieces and a little slot in there. The tab on the door piece goes into the slot, long story short. And now you're just left with making sure that the hood is tabbed in, and you really just push that down, and we have the roof section left. That's all that we have left. We can bring this all the way forward and put that down, and boom, there you go. Chromedome is done, technically. Now, I said I was going to show a couple of ways that you can sort of store this thing. Well, you could take it and store it on the door like that, if you think that looks good. I don't like the look of that at all. You can take it, and there are two little slots here and here that can go onto that side. For some reason didn't quite go down. I'll leave it for now, I'll fix it in a second. There are two little starts up on the roof. You can use the two little holes on the bottom of the piece that he's sitting in and place it on the starts on the roof like that, if you think that looks good. Again, I don't think that that looks good. I think that that looks terrible, actually. Pardon me, my battery died mid-process. I think that looks terrible, like I said. So we're going to take that off. Now, I noted that I didn't quite have the hood lined up. Well, you know what? Actually, that's okay, because it gives me an excuse to kind of show the arms again, which I don't really feel like I showed super well. You unpeg the arms and you unpeg the arms, and that's how you lift up the roof section. I'm going to make sure now that the two pieces are tabbed into each other, and it looks like they are now. I guess I was a little bit careless before, and you see a space in here. Well, guess who can go into that space? I bet you already know. That's right, it's our friend Stylor. He fits in there pretty snug, actually. I do find that you need to bend his knees so that he's in like that sort of a sitting position inside. And he'll rattle around a little bit in there. He's not super solid, but he certainly does. He certainly does fit. Now, I guess I'll try and point this out. For the arms, I'll take them right out again. There's a little notch right here, just above my finger, and it might be challenging to see. There's a little notch here above my finger, and there's a little tab, a little beige tab right there on the arm. You need to put that little beige tab, see if I can show closer, that little beige tab into that little notch. And that's what was not, for whatever reason, happening for me when I initially transformed this guy a few minutes ago. And normally they just kind of slide in there, to be honest with you. That side slid in no problem, and this side over here, ooh, let me place Stylor back in. This side here, There we go. Now I got it tabbed in there. And we just take the two sections of the canopy, we bring both of them down, we press them down into place, and now, boom, he is in his vehicle mode with Stylor inside. Love it. I think it looks absolutely terrific. He rolls great. He rolls better than the Combiner Wars version of this mold. Now for the weapon storage, and this is just the way that I do it. Again, you could use the slots, the 5mm holes on either side. I will do that with this smaller weapon. The only way really to do it with the bigger weapon, because if you try to, you know, do it this way with the bigger weapon, of course it hangs down too low for him to roll, so you can't do that. Your only other option would be to store it on the side like that. I think that looks awful. So your only other real option is to use those two pegs on the roof again, but be careful, because this red paint on the roof is, I'm pretty sure it's red paint put over clear plastic, so it might have a tendency to rub off over time. Be careful with what you're doing, folks. That's all I would say. So I'll take that and place it on there. That's my storage. It is certainly not perfect, but it is what it is. I'm not going to hurt this guy's grade because of poor weapon storage. It kind of comes with the territory sometimes. His transformation is easy, even though I fumbled over the arms. Honestly, if you know that Combiner Wars mold and know how to do that, this is extremely familiar. It is largely the same thing with the extra step of having dedicated feet. I'm going to give his transformation, if anything, it's probably a bit smoother actually. I'm going to give his transformation an easy 9. Overall, this guy is easily somewhere between a 9 and 9.5. He is fantastic. I would definitely recommend to anyone picking him up. I think you'll have some fun with this guy. I know that I certainly do. Anyway, that does it for Chromedome. That does it for me with another review here. And I guess the only thing left to say is thanks as always for dropping by, having a visit, giving me some of your time, and I look forward to the next time that you and I get together right here for another visit inside the videos.